could be, they call that the index number. And then inside, I just put an A, that could be a number. You know, A could be a number inside the box. So let's say I wanted you to figure out if N was 4 and A was 625. What if I told you what A was and what N was and told you to try to solve that? Find the indicated, that's what it says in the directions. Find the indicated real nth root of A. That's how they say it. Find the nth root, see, because n's on the outside, so that's the root number. Find the indicated nth root of A. Okay, so for this one, I said n was 4, so let's just write it out. So n, it's a root, and out here would be the 4. And in here is 625. Now you can just do this with a calculator, but just like knowing what, like I can show it to you by hand too without the calculator. If I take that number 625 and try to break it apart, 625, it's a pretty big number. I think I can divide it by 5. See, 625, I can divide it by 5. So it's 5 times 125. And then 125, I can divide that by 5. I'm just kind of showing you by hand, like how are they getting the answer for these? And then 25 is 5 times 5. So see, if you break 625 down, it breaks into a smaller number. And how many of these smaller numbers do you see? 4 of them, see? So it's what is the 4th root of 625 then? Yeah, the answer is just 5. That's the answer. The calculator will do that for you too. I'm showing it with a tree, like by hand and working it all out, but I could just type in the 4th root of 625 on the calculator and get the answer like just real fast. If you want to type in these roots, you have to hit 4 first, then second key, and then the caret key, that power key, the up arrow, that'll do the 4th root of 625. See, it's calculator does it right away. It's 5. I'm showing you like how it works, you know, by on the paper. But yeah, you can just use a calculator too sometimes. Let's try another one. Let's say I wanted you to figure out, this time I'm going to put negative 125, a negative number, and put it in parentheses. And the directions say evaluate. Okay, so this time we're going to try negative 125 to the 2/3 power. Okay, so, and actually it says right on here on the paper, evaluate without using a calculator. This one says without. Could we do it on a calculator? Well, yeah, but they want you to like understand it. How does this work without a calculator? Kind of like how I did that one by hand. So 125 to the 2/3. Okay, so the 125, the negative 125, that would be in this box, right? Let's rewrite it. When it has the 2/3, do you know which number goes outside the box? Yeah, the bottom one, that's the n. We talked about that about a week ago. The bottom number is that n number, that root. And the top number means this thing would be like squared. You could do that last even. We could figure this out and then square it. You could do that. The top number is the power squared, but the bottom number is the root. So do you think we could figure out the cubed root of negative 125? I think we could do it by hand without a calculator. It says on the worksheet, do it without a calculator. I think it's possible. So 125, what if I divide it by negative 5? Wouldn't I get 25? What if I divide by negative 5 again? You want to do negative 5 every time because there's a negative here. Like you want to use the sign, like the same. The numbers have to be the same that you're breaking down. So yeah, I think it's negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 5. So I think the cubed root of negative 125 is negative 5. But then, like I said, I kind of saved this part for last. I'll do it like I didn't do this part yet. I did the inside first, so I figured out the cubed root. So I think that's negative 5. But now I'm going to have to take that negative 5 and do the, now square it. What do you get if you square it? Yeah, the answer is 25. Negative squared, yeah, negative times negative will make it positive. See, so you can do it without a calculator. Could I have done a calculator and figured out the answer too? Yeah, I could have. You could do it either way. If I did it on the calculator, I have to make sure I type it good and type it correctly. So I'd have to put this in parentheses because it's in parentheses, and then raise it to the 2/3 power. I just had to put like, if you do it on the calculator, you have to put that power in parentheses too because it's a bunch of numbers. So it, oh, it's saying error. Well, let's try 1/3. Let's do it like step by step like we did. Like we could do the cubed root. Here we can do it like this way. Cubed root of negative 125. So you can do it, let's delete 125. Okay. Cubed root of 125 is negative 5 like we got. And then square that. We could do that way. 25. So you can do it on the calculator too. Kind of step by step also. Oh, let's see what else. Oh, then we get into formulas. We didn't do any formulas yet. These roots, sometimes you need to know how these roots work so you can solve a problem that involves a formula. Like, they're going to give you one on the assignment, a couple problems with shapes, and you have to know the formulas. They're going to give you the volume of, let's draw a picture. They'll have pictures on the worksheet. They'll give you a cylinder on the worksheet, a picture of a cylinder like this. And let's say I tell you the volume is 502 inches cubed. Well, this kind of goes back to geometry. You guys have learned these shapes in geometry. Okay, this is a cylinder. And you've studied those in the past. I'll give you the height of the cylinder, how tall it is. The height, I'm going to say, is 6 inches. And this is the radius, R. You know that you'll have to, so I'm going to tell you to figure out what the radius is. Find the radius if you're given the volume. I'm going to tell you to find the radius. So I drew you a picture of a cylinder. I gave you the volume and the height, and I want you to find the radius. Okay, well, you might need to look up the formula for volume of a cylinder. There's a formula. Do you know what the formula is? Okay, volume of a cylinder. There's a whole formula for that. Do you know how to find it? Some of you might know it. It's like a circle on one end of the cylinder, right? The ends are circles. So what's the formula for area of a circle? You guys know the formula for area of the circle? That's easy, you guys. What's area of a circle? No one knows how to find the area of a circle? A formula for that? Ooh, I'm going to have to tell Mrs. Moreland you didn't learn anything in geometry. Area of a circle. You guys don't know that? It has a pi symbol in it. Oh my goodness. Yes, pi r squared. Area of the base times the height. That's how you find volume. Area of the base is a circle, and then times the height. That's the formula for area for the cylinder, for the volume of a cylinder. Okay, so there's the formula. So what do we know? Plug in what you know. Well, what do we know what V is? They tell you that. V is 502. Okay, we got V.
Excuse me, Jeff, that email, huh?
Yes.
Can you set it up to be dismissed?
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, that's fine. And then R, okay, the R, I didn't tell you that one. I just put R in the picture. So I don't know what R is. What's H? H is 6. So see, you plug in the numbers you know. And now could we find the R in the formula for radius? Okay, so I give you a picture. You're going to have to find the radius. And so yeah, you need this formula. You can Google the formula if you didn't remember formula for cylinder. You can Google it, volume of a cylinder, and it pops up on Google. But you have to, get the formula set up right. Plug in the numbers. How do you solve this then? Well, say that again. Yeah, this is times, you guys, multiplying things together. So she said divide by 6. Yeah, if you divide by 6 first, you do the opposite of multiply, you divide. That's right. So 502 divided by 6. Okay, so I do that and I got 83.6 repeating. And then I have pi r squared still. Okay, then I would divide by pi. Pi is 3.14. You can type in divided by 3.14 next. So I have to take this 83.6 repeating divided by 3.14. So now I'm at 26.6 equals r squared. Now what? How do you get rid of the r squared? Yeah, now you do the square root. That's why we're learning radicals in this chapter, so you can get rid of these powers. So now you take the square root of 26.6. So I'll just do that on my calculator. Wait, square root of 26.6 equals, okay, let's round it off. I'll just put 5.2, I believe, equals r. So see, you have to do these roots when you solve little formula problems. You have to do the roots. That's how you get rid of the power of 2. You take the square root. So yeah, you're going to get a cylinder one. Another shape you might see is a sphere. We could do a sphere one really quick and show you that one again. You probably did this in geometry, but it's just been a while, right? You did stuff like that in geometry. You did volume. Just a short chapter, I think, at the end of the year. Let's do a sphere one. Sphere. I was like, wait, what shape am I going to do now? Let's do a sphere one really quick. Okay, I'll try to draw it the best I can. So a sphere, like a round ball shape. I'm going to draw it like that. Okay, so here's the radius of the sphere. Just put r there. Okay, so we're going to go through volume of a sphere. It's probably been a while again since you've learned that. If we need to look up the formula for that, some of you might know it, or it might look familiar once I write it down. It's 4/3 pi r cubed. If you didn't remember that formula, it's really not that big a deal. You can look it up. You can go on Google, type what's the volume of a sphere, and it'll tell you the formula. If you don't remember, you don't have to have a formula memorized. You can, just have to know how to use the formula. So this is the formula. Again, you could Google it, formula for volume of a sphere. It'll tell you it's this. So let's say I told you the volume of this problem again. Let's say I tell you the volume is 428 meters cubed. And then I want you to find the radius. We should be able to do that since we know how to do different roots and these radicals in this chapter. So I'm telling you the volume number, so you put that in for the V. You put 428 equals 4/3 pi r cubed. So how are we going to solve this? If we want to try to find the radius, but it has all these numbers in there. What do you say that again? Yeah, if you multiply by 3/4, it says 4/3 in the problem, but if you flip that, yeah, like multiply by the reciprocal times by 3/4 on each side. Good job. Times by 3/4, because that'll cancel the 4/3. All right, so we got to take 428 and times it by 3/4. Okay, so I do that. I got 321. Now you have pi r to the third. So now you have to divide by pi. You can hit the pi key on a calculator. There is a pi key, or you can just type 3.14. It's fine. Either way, it doesn't specify on the worksheet, so it would be fine either way. So yeah, you got 321 now divided by 3.14. Okay, so do that next. Divide by pi. So I got 102.229. Equals, see, now you have r to the third. So now how do you get rid of the r to the third? How do you get rid of the third power? How do you finish getting the final answer? You got to get rid of this third power. You're close. Yeah, it's called the third root. Then you have to take the third root, cubed root. Third root or cubed root. See, because that'll cancel the third power. The third power, you take the third root. If there's fourth power, I tell you do fourth root. Fifth power, fifth root. It's just the opposite. Okay, so I just have to figure out the cubed root of this 102 number. Okay, cubed root, do that on my calculator, of 102 point, oops, I typed it wrong, 102.229. Cubed root of that, so I got about 4.675, I'll round it off. How about 4.7? There, we'll just round it off to one decimal. It's about 4.7 for the radius. 4.7 what? Was this like centimeters, inches? What is this? Yeah, if you just look back at the original problem, the volume was meters cubed. So yeah, this would just be meters. The radius would be 4.7 meters. You should try to get used to that. Look for the labels, like do I have to put inches on this since it was a little story problem? It's a picture. Is it like inches, meters, centimeters, whatever the unit is? Try to label it. Okay, last. This is the very last one for notes. So you can see how you have to just solve a formula, plug numbers into your formula, and solve. Okay, last one. What if they want you to solve something like x plus 1 to the 5th power minus 3 equals 67. Let's do this one. This is our last one. So it's an equation, but it has a power in there, a 5th power. So it goes along with this chapter because this chapter is all about these different exponents and these different roots and radicals. Okay, so this is just an equation. I don't know if it helps you, but a lot of times I do put a line where the equal sign is when I'm solving an equation, because then it usually like sparks people's memory, like, oh yeah, I have to get some things on this side of the equal sign and some things on this side. Do you know what to do? I bet a lot of you do. Yeah, add 3 first. So just a quick review, solve this equation. So you got x plus 1 to the 5th power. 67 plus 3 would be 70. Okay, now what? This is the kind of new part what this chapter is about. Now what do you do? Yeah, since this is parentheses and it's all to the 5th power, you have to take the 5th root. That's how you get rid of 5th power. That'll cancel out the 5th power by taking the 5th root. Good job. So we got to do the 5th root of 70. So you got to get a calculator out. It says round your answer to 2 decimal places on the worksheet. So we'll have to do the 5th root. So you have to hit 5, 2nd, and the power key to get a 5th root. 5th root of 70. Okay, how would I round it to 2 decimal places? Because there's a lot of numbers there. 2.34, good, 2.34. See, it's pretty simple, and then finish it up by subtracting 1, and then we'll be done. So if we subtract 1 from that answer, we get 1.34. Now we're done. So overall, I hope you find it pretty easy. You know, just plug numbers into a formula sometimes and solve it. To get rid of 5th power, 5th root. To get rid of 4th power, you do the 4th root. To get rid of squared, you take the square root. So I think you guys, what do you think? Not too bad? So I'll give you the worksheet about it. Some of the questions, read the directions because they do say, like, some of these say round your answer to 2 decimal places. It says use your calculator. And a couple of them say try to do it without a calculator, like I was talking about at the beginning. Like this one here, we figured it out without the calculator. See if you could figure it out without a calculator sometimes. Yeah, a lot of times you can just use the calculator too and punch it in. Yeah, so just do this worksheet. And then if you have anything missing, anything you need to finish up, okay, TJ, let me check on that. Oh, I just tripped on this. My ankle went like sideways. That would not have been